Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the KeSPA Cup. We are up to match point, but it may not be the team that you were expecting after some of these early game plays. You can see KT, it was a powerhouse performance at the beginning, but then it all fell apart, Papa Smithy.
And it was execution, Atlas. We knew this would be about how the top side played. People will praise Ruler, especially for the final fight. But the issue was, what did I say about how this game will be decided? I said it would be about execution on the dive into the backline, and that let down Kingen once out of a fight, second time hinting into a fight, and with him going down so quickly, Ruler was able to open up space, stay alive, and take down the rest of KT. Gango definitely was second there as Fly held his ultimate to peel for Ruler.
Yep, left in the lurch there a little bit. Gango finds himself in an unfortunate position, but it just felt like it came off the back of Kingen, and that was a lot of explosive damage. A 6-item double-tier Ezreal will do that. KeSPA says, yeah, you're not getting away, Mia. So in the end, it was classic Ezreal damage, but a game that should have been won by KT Rolster.
Definitely feels that way, Atlas, and as we go into game number 4, there will be a roster change. Smeb will be coming back into the lineup here, as you might expect. Kingen had a great Jace game, but when it came to the TP, flanks, and the backline access, left a bit to be desired. So, what does that mean for game number 4? Will we get the full 5-game series in our first KeSPA Cup semifinal, and potentially in both, given that Griffin versus Damwon could also potentially be a very, very competitive series? In that confirmation on the roster change here, we gave you the spoiler, we saw it happen behind us. Smeb, the captain, back in the lineup. Things went really well on the Jace comp, and then for great swaths of game 3, they were ahead. But I think they still missed a recognized shot caller. We've also been informed, guys, that Score is actually dealing with some issues with his ears right now, just in terms of actually being able to play. So right now he's not 100% medically ruled out, but he's done in a great spot when it comes to actually taking to the Rift. So it doesn't feel like he's really been an eligible sub. He's only desperately needed. And Umti has largely been very decent so far, so no need to sub him in.
Yeah, I'd say that people would honestly understand why Umti's staying in, even if we didn't provide that information, but it's good to know, because seeing a KT without Score is something that I don't think anyone wants to experience. That would be world-shattering. What even is a KT without Score?
I think we'll have to know about that in about a year's time, but we don't have to live in that world just yet. Score's got one more year, and Umti has been leading the way. The Gen.G win right there is looking like it could potentially be on the cards. If they get an early game going, then perhaps things will fall into place, because I believe it's a Peanut fan.
It is.
Surprise.
They follow him no matter which team he's on.
Ways to increase your fan base in Korea: sign Faker or Peanut.
Yes, that'll do it. Gen.G didn't really need that much help after 2017, but since 2018, they have needed to boost that one. So Peanut certainly able to offer that. Look at that adorable smile. He is on your screen right now. We'll see whether they can actually use that smile to create the morale to get them over the line in this game number 4. It is match point for Gen.G. But now the captain comes back. Smeb back in the roster. BDD still not necessarily 1v9 like we may have expected from this team, with the whispers that were going around.
He's been a bit inactive in these games. He hasn't been bad, but he hasn't been, you know, the flair player we know he can be. I want to see him on a 1v9 champion. Give me that BDD, Aurelia.
Yeah.
He tried. The Deathcap Swain was definitely a jolly good try, but it was not his fault that the fights didn't really come together.
Yeah, and I felt like that was trying to do a bit of a UCal roleplay. So I felt like KT was the team that put their mid laner on Swain in every single game that they could. BDD, it's just, I want to see the Zoe, man. I want to see BDD be the one to pop off on the Zoe. I know it feels like a fly champion at the moment.
Holding up the famous fan sign, KT Rolster, we feel your victory. It slipped away from them in game number 3. And
well, we were feeling it, and then it just didn't happen.
But sometimes it is, you know, that brush. You look around and there's a bit of phantom limb situation. There's no hand there. It's only your imagination. I think reality is closer to the fact that KT should be very competitive. Even the bot lane, like, this has not been the bot lane hard carry that we might have thought, with Ruler and Life just rolling through in the laning phase. Gango has looked competitive, especially in the last couple of games. Do KT have another pre-planned strategy now that Smeb's back in the lineup, or are we just power picking in game number 4?
Well, we'll see how the pick and ban is going to change, as it is on your screen right now. A lot of reiteration as we moved into game 3, largely to do with the side misalignment, and now it's back to KT being blue. Gen.G will be on your red side once again. KT, they don't want to see the Aatrox on the other side of the rift. They're going to go back to banning it first up.
Seems like such a safe first pick that it makes you wonder why it is being blue side banned. Maybe they haven't prepped it on multiple members. Omti looked at home with it, and for a lot of the previous game, looked like he might be the MVP of game number 3 before it went away from there.
Yeah.
The Akali is not banned by KT. I wonder if they would first pick it. The Lucian also available, and a possible first pick.
Well, Lissandra going to be the deviation from the ban, and Urgot is going to remain available. Lee Sin there as well. Certainly a lot of priority picks still available. Like you say, the Lucian, something for Gango that has looked good, especially in the laning phase, as Galio is the last ban for Gen.G.
Aurelia, when BDD and Smeb are on the lineup, is suddenly very, very high value to them as well. So let's see what KT want to first pick. And they're actually going to play it a bit different here if this is going to be locked in. They really like that their one victory was on the Nocturne, and the amount of aggression that'll pull off. To me, it's surprising because Nocturne could be traded for Lee Sin. So it does feel like Gen.G are going to get 2 solo laners and a Lee Sin in the first round. So it's a pretty heavy price to guarantee the Nocturne. So once again, we say, KT, what do you have around your first pick?
Well, at least now, I mean, Gen.G, it's not looking like it's all that flexible. It's likely that Cuvée is on the Aurelia, and likely that Fly is going to be on the Urgot. KT can build accordingly.
This would be cool.
That would be really cool, especially when we wanted more agency from BDD.
Yep.
How do you do it? You put him on the LeBlanc. I mean, Faker tried it. Didn't look as great as Faker has in the past yesterday. Now BDD to try his hand, and Smeb saying, step aside, King, and I know you've been playing it in solo queue, mate, but I've been playing it since before you were born.
Yeah, Smeb is a great Jace in his own right. That is some impressive damage duo of dealers there when it comes to mid and top for KT Rolster. Gen.G, I thought they'd just take Lee Sin in the first round, but maybe they have other things here and want to just focus on getting Ruler. A priority AD carry. That seems to be the way, so they give up, potentially, the Lee Sin that you would imagine KT would throw a ban at.
Well, Lucian is a pretty easy ban here for Gen.G, likely to be followed by something like the KeSPA to really strangle Gango out, unless they want to get rid of something, you know, like the Leona that Umti seems to play incredibly well alongside of on the Nocturne. Still yet to figure it out.
LeBlanc at level 6 for Nocturne is definitely going to try and burst down this mid lane Urgot. That's the thing that we'll be keeping our eyes on. We'll have some harass in lane, but the actual killing potential probably will require the Nocturne to be level 6. And like we mentioned, Nocturne gone. Seems like we're leaving Peanut out to dry a little bit and Gango out to dry a little bit. So can Gango actually come back from a lot of his recognized champions taken away?
Well, Mia not going to be able to have the Rakan. Of course, haven't seen that from Mia so far this series. It's been the Leona and the Pike so far.
And KT say, well, I don't think we need to ban Zac. We've got Jace and LeBlanc solo lanes.
Yeah.
That'd be quite bold. Gen.G could still go for it. That's kind of the scary thing is, do you play around the mind games of that? KT just say, we want to deal with the dueling junglers, the early junglers, and just ban away the Camille. And you see Peanut very animated.
Yeah, not looking too excited about it. Maybe wanted to play the Camille. Now having a bit of a discussion. We've got 10 seconds to go.
He's not a recognized Camille jungle. It's usually been a champion that he's struggled on, but he's played a lot of it in solo queues, so I think, yeah, he would have been considering it. They'll just go for the tier list choice of the Gragas and match level 6 with level 6.
This was a champion that Clid struggled on a little bit in the final game of the SKT series yesterday against Damwon, but that game looked well and truly won until it was lost. So we'll see whether Peanut can have a better performance as this is some old friends.
Exactly. It's the duo here. We've seen Ashe so far this tournament. It's Caitlyn, for example, but it's Ashe and Tahm Kench. For more utility, they're going to be able to watch the camps being taken with the Hawk shot flying out during the laning phase and then engage. And you know what? Ashe might not be doing the damage to do lethal damage, but Nocturne, Jace, and LeBlanc can be on that particular assignment. Going to be Ezreal, Alistar versus Ashe and Tahm Kench. Live or replay, I asked. This was the matchup for a lot of 2018, especially at the start of the year. Again, it feels like utility on the bot side and how the top side goes should decide game number 4.
Gen.G certainly setting themselves up with a little bit more team fight, but KT's pick potential. We're talking about identities of team comps and what they're good at, what they struggle at. KT's ability to pick someone and kill them is extraordinary with this comp.
And yet, isn't Akali pretty good against Ashe?
Yeah.
That is, there's a lot of threat onto Ashe time. KeSPA, the Gragas barrel behind even the Devour. That's going to be a bad story. Akali in the backline. Oof, that sounds awkward. Gen.G do have a lot of kill pressure onto the Ashe, and Ruler is epically slippery in comparison.
Yep, and a stray Fear Beyond Death could just be the end of any KT team fight if their initial salvo isn't what gets them over the line. I feel like KT certainly need to play some finesse League of Legends to win this one, if all things are even going into something like 25-30 minutes into the game. However, Humpty showed that he can get massive level leads on this Nocturne, his ability to path out and keep himself safe until level 6, utilize the paranoia to get lanes ahead, things like this. This could be what changes things in favor of KT.
Getting solo lanes ahead would be really big for KT here, and I think we're ready to get into a potential final game.
Yeah, it's match point. Gen.G could do it right here, or KT could bring us to 5 games. Let's find out now.
Well, we're going to linger with this song because we've got a bit of a pause to open things up. Sorry, guys, we baited you.
Yeah, it's a bit of a sepia mode to begin this game, and I was getting a little bit jealous, Papa, I have to admit. Pup's mad life has been mostly Brennan Valdez so far. This KeSPA Cup, now I get to try my hand at it, which is it's nice.
I, for one, am hoping that after yesterday's 2 hours of podcasting that we get some video gaming very, very soon. I'm kind of like the players, adjusting back and forth. We were on screen now. I'm rocking, you're twirling.
I'm twirling. I'm a twirler, you're a rocker. That's sort of how it's worked. Wow, that came across self-burn by accident.
Like Peanut has some headset issues.
Yeah.
Not a mouse issue, though, so good job, Peanut.
Probably should have invested in a Sennheiser headset. So, my recommendation does need to have the sound cancelling ones though, so it's not on offer yet.
Mia gonna potentially close out the series here for KT. Definitely no reason to adjust bot lane because of the previous game. They had one lane and they did their thing. Gango maybe went too far after the Aurelia gave her life over for Valhalla in the previous game, but apart from that was fine.
Now, it looks like we are back into the game, so CB mode has been cancelled. Papa Smithy, you got your wish.
Crowd cheers?
Yeah, and Gen.G, certainly the explosion of fans since the injection of Peanut.
In the LCK era, Gen.G, formerly Samsung Galaxy, formerly KSV, have never reached a domestic final, ever. Despite being world champions in 2017, over the course of 4 calendar years, 4 entire years of competition, since we went to a league format, champions no longer, they have never reached a final. So it'd just be a huge thing for the org, for Kevin Chu and everyone over there, the brains trust behind Gen.G. It'd be so big for them. A victory, obviously, will be icing on the cake, so they can get this game victory. That'll be big for them, and KT made the bold choice of going ultra utility for bot. They give up any hope of the hard carry. Yes, it's possible, but they realistically have said, I'm going to Hawk shot down the camps to let you know where Gragas is. I'm going to shoot out an arrow and let LeBlanc, Nocturne, and Jace do the rest.
Yeah, and then hopefully try to escape from Cuve's clutches for the rest of the game. That is going to be the job of Gango this time. Certainly a different identity from that of what we're used to in the successful attempts that he's had here up against Ruler. Ashe, not exactly the worst early game.
No.
AD carry, can control a wave pretty well. Seen it from a lot of players, especially at the beginning of the season, beginning of the year, in fact. A lot of Ashe.
Not a happy lane for QV, pre-6. No. Just sucks. Really sucky lane matchup, pre-6. So, just like when we saw Cho'Gath versus Jace, you can't go near the minion wave, is what Smeb is saying. He's gone summon an Aerie just to incrementally chip down on that health total.
Yeah, not going to be the phase rush this time around for the Jace.
You need level 2 so much on Akali so that you can even CS, because you need the Shroud in order to approach the minion wave. So,
at what point do you take Shroud level 1?
What? He's got 0 CS, so he's feeling really sad about that.
Yeah, maybe he should have taken.
When will he get a CS? That's the question. How many? 12-0?
12-0 is the thing at the moment, as Hawkshot, like you say, flying forward, but it spots his own jungler doing the red buff, and also spots that he will be able to do so without having to worry.
Ooh, KeSPA got his level 2 power spike.
Oh, here we go.
Look at these minions he's getting.
Oh, yeah. So many minions. And can now avoid abilities by just not being there. Oh no, take it all back, Smeb. Looking for his ignite button, didn't actually have one. Unfortunately, is now Umti in trouble. Chains are going to land though, and Disdain not going to affect BDD, and Fly loses that trade.
There was somehow 700 meanwhile ads happening at the same time.
So many.
Thought for someone would die somewhere. Thought it was going to be Umti, but then the chain was very important from BDD. KeSPA's having the worst time.
This is, it was never going to be a great time, but this almost feels way worse.
Yeah, abysmal matchup in the early game. But post 6, Jace doesn't build a lot of health, and thus Akali has some burst options. So the all-in comes later.
Yep.
Umti's power farming, hoping for the best. He can smite here, so he's fine.
Yep, keeps himself alive, and is going to be able to take down his blue. Continues power farming things out. 16 to the 23 that Peanuts put together. Had a full clear. Has started bottom side of the map, got himself his Rift Scuttler, and still a couple of camps available here for Umti as he counter-jungled the red.
AT's bot lane, even though, again, we're kind of table setting for Ashe and Tahm Kench to purely be about utility. You already outlined it, level 1. Ashe is strong. Tahm Kench can outtrade the Alistar as he has a lot more non-committal lane presence abilities, and thus, laning phase is going to be just fine for Ashe and Tahm. We feel like the mid-game might be a lot more painful with how much Gen.G can really do a number on both the Tahm Kench and the Ashe. So we got some lane priority going on there. It's not a sheer priority, but it is very strong lane presence for KT. Until a moment like this.
Yeah, where Peanut has the Predator, but thankfully Volley is there to slow down both the Cow and the Ezreal. And Peanut just gonna book it into the enemy jungle. Umti, okay, spots the Predator on top of his head and says, I'm getting the hell out of here.
That's definitely where the overlay really helped out Umti. He was in one combo range, even from a level 4 Peanut.
Yeah, Peanut probably pretty upset about the fact that that was still lingering from his bottom lane gank attempt. Fly gonna wander towards BDD, who doesn't have a lot of mana, which is why Fly feels like he can do this, and Peanut was on the bottom side.
He was a bit like Yukal versus Rookie, with Fly on this mid lane Urgot against BDD's LeBlanc, just trying to negate a lane. Yukal, a big negator when he can be. Chovy was doing that in the LCK Summer Final as well.
He was, looking pretty good doing it as well. That was one hell of a 5-game final.
Lane and bot lane, priority. Lane and top lane, priority. And mid lane, pretty much a wash. So that means that Umti should have a pretty fast level 6. Good use of the Q there, doesn't actually go over the wall. So there's nothing spotted as KeSPA.
Oh, that's the accelerated shock blast from Smeb and gets the last airy. I think that was 2 rounds of airy during that one skirmish, which is feels bad for the Akali, who now doesn't have the teleport to get herself back to lane.
But she might get another cloth armor.
Oh,
she can't afford it.
Nah, booties,
boots,
booties.
Okay.
Oh, and another cloth armor.
Whoa.
Right. That's
okay.
So many cloth armors.
Counter Jace.
Yeah. Feels like, you know, the kid that's just put on an extra t-shirt, you know, as Peanut jumps on top of a ward. KT's bottom lane in trouble. There's 4 members of Gen.G down here. Mia has used the flash now. The Grey Health still available as Gango underneath this turret. Fear Beyond Death will be there as Disdain not enough. The Devour comes in. It's a 1-for-1 trade. And you give that in favor of KT as Gango still under the turret ruler. Very low on health.
Yeah, trading 1-for-1 in that scenario with the outnumber is huge for the side of KT. Mia is like, thank you very much. I'm going to go for the Devour and punish Fly for walking up too aggressively. He was greedy. He wanted the Ashe. He wasn't willing to just walk past or flash past and focus on just the Tahm Kench. The call is, let's kill Tahm Kench. With 4 members against 2. Tries to get both. That means that Mia just walks around slowly and is actually able to get off the Devour. Mistake from Fly on the side of Gen.G.
Yeah, just gobbles up the Urgot. And I wonder whether that... So if you're in the stomach of a Tahm Kench and you have Fear Beyond Death and it gets to the threshold, does the Tahm Kench then devour his teammate?
I have a headache. Let's not talk about that.
I don't know. I don't know how that interaction works, but if Fly actually managed to do it and Gango was saved by Mia eating him, that'd be a really cool interaction.
That isn't what happened, but the what if there is still gonna leave us for now. Just like the what if of Umti using his ult. He's actually gonna be pretty slow on the level 6 here. It's gonna be about 7.5 minutes that he picks it up.
Should be very, very close, as red buff is going to be the next option, but that is going to give information over to Gen.G, as that control ward is still there from Peanut's earlier visit to the jungle.
If you had a level 6 on the Ashe here, you just kill Alistair with the Ashe and Nocturne. They can do a lot of work on a no flash, no ignite life in the bot side.
Especially before level 6, which he hasn't quite hit just yet. Nia turns up, control ward is going to be eliminated, and I believe that means Umpty is still invisible to the Gen.G players.
Ignite on cooldown as well, so when he is level 6, going to be harder to kill life, like you mentioned. If they had Ignite, I think they can just burst through with the Ashe Hour and the Nocturne. But that's the lane you want to go to. Nocturne plus Ashe usually means death to one person, and Ezreal is going to be very, very tricky to actually get.
Also now has himself his red pot that he got from the club community. So you know you're having a good time.
If staying competitive despite not going for any magic resist the first time, just goes in Phage and went towards Black Cleaver. No Merc Treads even. Merc Treads first is almost a requirement against LeBlanc for most mid laners. So impressive that he's able to shrug off the damage to this degree.
Yep. BDD as well. I mean, goes back and gets a Lost Chapter just straight up. Not even getting any of the dank seals in between. Often you can spot whether the back timings have been forced by how many dank seals they've got.
He's just staying stationary around the Drake, trying to work out what the next play is. Gonna start it up now.
Yep, goes in level 7 and use that paranoia. Try and find a way out, theoretically, or start off a fight. The Mountain Drake will be going down for the first dragon, and uncontested here from Gen.G as Peanut was going back to base.
Gragas has to make a lot of plays like he is, which is clear a camp and chill bot. Do something, chill bot, because the Ashe plus Nocturne is the most obvious turret dive or dive in with that paranoia. So, Drake's going to be given up. Gotta say, the Ashe Tahm Kench plus the Nocturne is going to mean that Drake stacking should be a very possible thing for KT in the early game.
Yep, a lot of safety here available as well. They don't necessarily need to have all of this vision priority that they have, because Hawkshot just so useful for the KT bottom lane.
Will Gen.G try to end the top lane phase for now, or delay it as bot line?
Yeah, there's a headbutt pulverized combo as Mia takes a lot of damage. It will be a dead Tahm Kench for Gengo. He's not going to die just yet, and no arrow invested in this bottom lane. Man, Umpty kicking himself, but not heading down there, but there just weren't any camps.
This might be a good back timing, because they could go top lane and the laning phase for QV and give him some ability to find a side lane and get some gold and take the Rift Herald. That's an option they would have here in order to deal with their problems. Speaking of problems, Nocturne finally wasn't bot side, so nice all in there means that Mia goes down. Can't get the counter kill. Good play and good timing from Gen.G.
Yeah. Wonder whether Gengo could have actually saved him there with the use of the ultimate. My mind first says no. Peanut, he's the one that turns up topside, and you can see now life feels like he has been let go from his duties on the bottom side of the map.
Ruler doesn't have teleport on Ezreal. We've seen a lot of teleport Ezreal so far in the KeSPA Cup. So
and
they're not
from Ruler this series as well.
And they're not fully committing thus in order to go against the Rift Herald. So it's just taken post-haste by KT. I was talking about the lane swap, but with Smeb pushed up, they don't want to risk it. Double control ward placed there. That's probably a mistake.
Yeah, I think so too. Slight miscommunication potentially, as Smeb says, well, that's a bit of money there, as Hex Flash gonna come in. There's the headbutt pulve, and now QV looking for more. No! Doesn't land the E, and Smeb is gonna flash over the wall. Good get on the summoner spell, but not a kill.
Paranoia was thrown out early. I imagine the moment the assassin path was in the air, was looking to join there. Ends up just being used, so we'll go on cooldown for now. Extra tool taken away from KT. The Hex Flash, really all that was invested by Gen.G.
Yeah, not too much there at all. No worries. Find it, it's a little bit weird that the ultimate from Akali is called Perfect Execution, purely because you can use it and mess it up pretty easily. You use it, miss an E, and then you never get the next charge, and it's just on cooldown.
So there's sarcasm built in if it's bad. Perfect execution.
Hey, there we go.
That sounded very Aussie when I said that.
Well, I mean, Aussie's pretty good at the old sarcasm.
Oh, yeah?
If we've got anything. It's providing criminal jokes and also
cribbing
sarcasm.
And also removing syllables from words.
Yeah, and utilizing the bottom of a beer barrel.
True.
Good at that. Referring to Vegemite. You guys didn't know? Wow, as soon as you say Vegemite, your voice has to go very, very Australian. Not great. BDD, thankfully, is going to break this one up by taking a blue buff, which is something we can talk about. Topside vision also very good for KT. Smeb doesn't want to have another iteration of that experience because he doesn't have a flash to get away from it this time.
KeSPA wants to have a gunblade, but cannot afford to go that in the matchup, as we can tell. Armor stacking as much as he can.
Yep. Does at least have himself a Twilight Shroud, but can't press too many buttons as Smeb right on top of him. No, doesn't get that Shock Blast. It's a bit of a lucky dip there as Umti channeling the Rift Herald. Not a lot Gen.G can do about it. This should be taken on the top side of the map as BDD really wants his blue buff to kick in. That's a lot of extra money going over to the Jace. 320. You could have a kill, or you could have that, and I'd probably take that.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely get the gold on someone who's in a really good position. KeSPA having his gunblade delayed is very frustrating for Gen.G because I think around 1-2 items, the fact that Urgot and Akali, because of stasis and just Urgot's kit, are almost unkillable, should be in a pretty good spot to fight. His ult is flashed away.
Yeah, the ult has to be flashed there by BDD. Gets his clone out. Umti's here as well, stealing away a red buff. A lot happening on the map right now. We had a little bit of a respite from the action. Now everything seems to be happening everywhere. Peanut now looking for this gank opportunity. Umti is going to be very close to Paranoia position. Not quite level 11, but does still have a lot of range. Arrow just going to get the goal. Another Australian reference there available. Straight through the posts.
I wonder why he used Arrow then. I don't know what it could possibly have done.
Oh, he doesn't want to mess it up for the next minute, so put it on cool. I don't know, dude. I don't know.
That was a bit of a head scratcher. Didn't feel like anything positive could happen apart from a chunk, I guess, with the Ash Arrow. So we'll call it a whoopsie on the bot side.
Maybe it's mind games. Maybe it's like, now we'll put it on cooldown and maybe they'll engage on us and we'll be able to get... Yeah, no,
look, I know we're a next level, but
yeah,
I hope everyone at home knows you're being facetious.
Yes, I certainly am. Thankfully, we just had a conversation about sarcasm, so people may actually understand as a bit of a fight continues in this mid lane as Fly makes his way back. Losing out in the farm just a little, but should be able to claw himself back in as Peanut finds Umti. A lot of damage already being done here as Paranoia has been popped. Ward is down. He can get back in looking for some of his cooldowns as now BDD over the side. The Q is going to land. Peanut very close, but the chains don't land. Smeb wants to find the Shock Blasters. Fly will pick up the first kill of this skirmish. Now it's the Voyage, but it's not the Voyage that you want. That's the Urgot, and that is one hell of a weird picture-in-picture. As now Smeb should be able to get this one against KeSPA. Not a lot of buttons remain, but no. Unable to do so, and now Mia in no man's land. Gen.G just wipe the floor with them.
Mamma mia, things fall apart for the side of KT. The second kill is a double kill for Urgot's meme territory from 2010, as he just able to turn this around and then some, all without any magic resist other than a null magic mantle topside.
Yeah, KeSPA going down very, very low here as Smeb can't keep him in that W in hammer form. Jumps back forward, and KeSPA picks it up. And KT look all over the place.
KeSPA solo killing Smeb. That reminds me of a couple of Worlds qualification best of fives. Everything, and I mean everything, going the way of Gen.G. Let's watch the replay here. Remember, Black Cleaver is mainline, only a null magic mantle onto the side of the Urgot. And we're focused on the top side. Well, will they kill Urgot? Will they kill, will they kill Gragas? Will they kill Gragas? And then Urgot turns around, and this is the part that we missed. Umti just walks into melee range, and Urgot says, my cooldown's pretty short. Yeah. And actually snipes BDD. That secondary snipe was outrageous, and then Mia is front row seat to be out of position.
Yep. And BDD just didn't have any buttons to offer Umti there as well. Bit of a miscommunication there by the looks of things. As very easily Gen.G rotate everybody else back up, and the Toad realizes that this is not the dinner table he wanted to be at.
No ruler, no problem. That is Gen.G blowing open this game. It's only 900 gold, but they were so far behind. The 5 kills is just the invitation for Gen.G in game number 4.
Well, what is KT's answer to this?
An Ash Arrow is probably the start of it.
And that's now back off cooldown again. Let's not talk about the other one. Not meaning that there wasn't an arrow available for that last skirmish.
They really need to make one of these from downtown players work, I think, KT, because the Akali finding a solo kill and getting closer and closer to Gunblade means that Jace's time to have Reckless Abandon in the 1v1 is fast going to be exposed, and thus end on the top side.
Drawing to a close,
yes.
most certainly, is Peanut. Over to the side, chains land here onto BDD, who's pretty comfortable in the mid lane. First Dark Seal comes in, as well as a book on top of his Ludens.
And definitely we're in pen, or maybe even in blood, adding the Urgot to the mid lane champion pool for Fly.
Yeah, I think so.
It's like a better Poppy, is the way I would explain it to him.
What
if I was
about
the
Rammus?
coach. You know he's tried it.
Oh, he has. He was actually winning on it. Solo queue. Fly's an interesting guy.
He is. Just tell him what not to play and he'll play that.
It reminds me of a certain jungler from back in OCE. In my early days of League of Legends. His name was Pup Smithy, I believe.
I had my fun Atlas, but then I retired because I was bad. And I'm here to cast now, and I'm doing okay at that, so that's nice.
Yeah, you certainly are. I like to think that you retired because you were so good at casting, not because you weren't good at League of Legends.
Well, we try to remember ourselves in the best light. As Smeb and QV, Nocturne's around this.
Yeah, how is Smeb going to remember this moment, though, is the question, as QV does have a bit to offer back, still with the ultimate in hand. Let's see. Not going to pull the trigger on anything. Fly cleans up the minions in the mid lane, and Gen.G have so much control. The lead is certainly not there, but when you see a game like this move towards 20 minutes on an even footing, and there's Gen.G in it, it just feels really rough, as that's rough as heck. QV easily cleaning it up.
That was really nicely done, though. The mind games are so real with the Shroud, as Fly is alone, but who's flanking who?
Yep, he was feared, but he was also gold, so not too afraid of it. Gen.G are just going to walk away. Feels like KT cannot do anything since that first kill that Mia was able to trade for on the bottom side of the map.
And somehow the solo kill for the Akali might even be more important, because now Jace can't really enter lane against Akali. And that is the opposite of the game state that we opened up with the priority in top and bot that KT were able to develop. Akali gets her whacking away at that turret. And now KT, I feel like the next play has to go their way. And sometimes things just don't go your way.
No, that is a hawk shot that deals a lot of damage there from Ruler.
It's not about the same cooldown, amusingly.
Yeah, especially late game. How did you thread that past the big fat toadfish?
Such as Ruler.
That's where real skill is illustrated. Zumti is here, ready for a paranoia. Ruler just gets himself back out. Things are fine. Tower falls. Top side of the map. As we understood would happen, Gunblade now completed. QV with a blasting wand as well, moving towards Morellonomicon. He's going to give up on building the Zhonyas now because he feels like he doesn't need it. Just straight up kill Smeb.
Teleport being used to keep this minion up. They want the turret right now. I'm struck by a question, Atlas.
What's that?
How many of QV's top 5 best carry performances in his career were against Smeb? Quite a lot of them.
And how many of them are in gauntlets?
At least 4 of them, it feels like, were against Smeb.
Yeah, I'd say so too.
Something about Smeb. I guess Smeb must have just made the wrong joke at the wrong time, and QV took it to heart.
Well, it's impressive. It's just so good to see QV back in form. And it's happened as early as the beginning of this tournament as well. His first outing, as you mentioned at the very beginning of the show, was not impressive.
I think BDD also, for a player that we build up a lot, has had no impact in this game at all. The Urgot was already selected when he brought out the LeBlanc, and it's negated him and then some. You had to think that QV would be on the Akali top. That's just something that he's really done well on, and his Urgot play has never been that impressive. So at the end of the day, I would say that BDD kind of overestimated his limits here in the matchup. If you lose to an Urgot that doesn't build magic resist, that's not what you want. And while it's not necessarily getting schooled, going CS for CS isn't ideal either as a LeBlanc, so...
No, and also keeping your LeBlanc just sitting in mid lane clearing out minion waves is exactly where you want her as the enemy team.
Great.
So nothing going well here for BDD as far as that decision, and they had it projected, like you say, in the draft because it was the first 2 picks that came in, Akali and Urgot, and you knew for a fact that QV was going to be on the Akali. So... not a lot of excuses to be made here for KT. Still, Gango does have a 20 CS lead.
And QV's on a ward. That's very good news for the side of KT.
Yeah, understanding where that guy is. Certainly something they need to do. 2-0-0 once again finds himself in the mid-game with 2 kills. But Ruler this game, I mean, getting hit by stray volleys, that's bad news. Bears, however, he's almost got his Archangels done. He's sitting on his free-ass boots as well. Ready to turn them into whatever the heck he wants to. Blade of the Ruin King could come in, or he could go for a Gunblade as well, make it a double Gunblade game.
A lot of lane assignments are not possible for KT. The Jace doesn't really have many areas to hide. There's some threat onto QV from BDD, but we're probably not going to see that.
Last hitting against a Nocturne with an E from Akali is that's a feels bad. The Nocturne.
Yeah, game state is just more than the 3,000 odd gold shows in this game number 4.
And especially if you look at the mentality impact as well under this KT team that had a game 3 in the bag. And honestly threw it in the most epic way possible in that team fight. I don't like talking about past failings, but it is so relevant at this situation because as soon as something goes wrong in a game like this, it's so hard to keep yourself in it, keep yourself mentally ready for that comeback potential.
But I want to talk about past failings, Atlas, because Gen.G sucked at Worlds. They were terrible. They went
Yeah,
1-5, worst Korean team of all time at the World Championship. And while they will be reaching the KeSPA Cup final if they win this series, that's not necessarily Worlds implications. It vindicates a tournament that's about how are your roster changes looking. The roster changes are looking good, Atlas. They're looking like they're going to make their first domestic final with the roster changes they've put together. And that is a vote of confidence, and that shows they learned something from Worlds. They were not going to have another go-around with Ambition, another go-around with Crown. They make the hard decisions, and while KeSPA Cup doesn't end the evaluation period, the early preview is that Gen.G look better than the sum of their parts as a team of 5.
And we have to remember as well that Gen.G, throughout a lot of what was the last half of the summer split, were playing with Fly here in the mid lane. It wasn't Crown. And with Haru in the jungle as well, it wasn't Ambition. And then they go off to Worlds, and yes, Haru plays some of it, but not all of it. And it wasn't the Gen.G that we'd experienced finding a little bit more success. Yes, they didn't have the summer split that they wanted. However, it wasn't anywhere near as close to the woeful performance that was Worlds for Gen.G.
So, let's zoom back in on the game, because the game state hasn't changed, and thus, they've already had some throws this series. Who's to say another one can't come?
Yeah. And now Smeb, he's trying it again.
But he's got to make this time.
Yeah, QV. And they're just bouncing him around. He's not a tennis ball. That's an Akali. As he dives back forward, he's looking for Umti. He's going to pick it up. A 1-for-1 is not what you wanted in a 1v2 scenario. And Gen.G say, well, thank you very much. That's an Abyssal Voyage down to the bottom lane as well. We'll take a Baron.
But KT are coming back in here. Here comes BDD. They only have one smite.
Yeah, teleport in from Smeb actually, as BDD's over on the top side as well. Ruler takes that shock blast, but it's the Baron down already from Gen.G. Can KT actually clean this one up? Is the question, as Life was trying to get down Gango, but Devour comes in at the last second from Mia. The Urgot has fallen, and the cow should go down afterwards. Ruler should be able to keep himself alive, but he's going to be the only one with the Baron.
They take the Baron, but they take heavy losses, Atlas, 4 deaths, and only Ruler will be holding the buff. KT do still end up forcing a lot of bloodshed in this game. TP comes in. They won't lose their mid lane turret, but it's not an overall game killer to pick up that Baron.
No, I wouldn't say so. Such an interesting situation now in the game, but let's go over what happened.
Yeah, it's a pretty bold Baron take. You know the enemy smite is not there, so that's why you attempt it, but they don't have double smite of their own. They couldn't change over from the exhaust that was running. I thought Smeb would just die to the burn, but doesn't go down. Ruler behind enemy lines loves the Baron buff to be able to get out for what would have been a death on his side. They get the Baron. It's still a nice movement for QV in a 1v2, but overall, KT don't actually fall any further behind.
Yeah, and some vindication here for BDD as well. He puts himself up to 2-1-1. And also, the only bounty on the team is for Gango, who's been farming very, very well. 30 CS is still his advantage here, as it's only going to get better for him as the next items start coming in. We'll see whether it's Guardian Angel that he opts in for, or whether he's just going to go for the high damage option in the Infinity Edge. Ash, of course, liking crit for different reasons.
Ruler actually shorted his W on the turret. They will take the mid lane turret here. Predator can be popped and zoned. Don't even have to throw the Gragas cask anymore. You can just press the Predator and people will move away.
Oh, I thought Gango was angling himself for a potential arrow, but doesn't decide to go for it. QSS is now completed onto Ruler, so they won't be able to grab him. See, with the Paranoia up, all the ultimates that KT need to start these fights is there, but they don't have Smeb with half his health bar now because QV found him for a few moments.
Pushing into the mid lane, only one Baron, but that's the only one they need. It's on Ruler, so that's exactly who they wanted to group around to siege anyway. Ruler's Ezreal is better at sieging than before after the W changes mean that you blow up turrets faster.
Yep, he's going to go back home, has an empowered recall. Still a minute on this Baron, not sure how much more they can get out of it. Bottom and top still with inner turrets to be taken down, but minion wave's not in optimal position, so it looks like Ruler happy just to go back, clear out minions underneath this turret, continue putting pressure further forward.
He's going to be able to be so assertive in the next fight because Seraph's transform, QSS, frontlining Ezreal, a very big possibility, and we know that Ashe will be the opposite of that. So,
yes.
Given that, and Akali being there rather than being dead, it's hard for KT to recreate what was 4 kills around the Baron just a few moments ago. Umti, so much more down to earth on this Nocturne game. No kills, a Black Cleaver to his name, but a one-way trip compared to the Sterix, where he could actually linger in the backline.
Yeah, at this point in the last time we saw him on the Nocturne, I believe it was Sterix complete as well as a Giant spell, and now still piecing that Sterix together. Went for the Black Cleaver this time around, just to give himself some damage relevance as he dives in, and some utility as well, as Ashe does like having that one. Looks like Gango is going to be going towards the Infinity Edge, still looking for that 1250. Put that one together.
Let's keep our eyes on the transform timing from Ruler, because suddenly, if he has Saracen Iceborne Gauntlet, he actually doesn't care about this behind Nocturne, because he can just ignore it. Top side.
Yeah, Arrow is just going to pierce the heavens, but that's still going to be a dead Urgot no matter what. And he's going to be able to get the assist somehow there as well, I believe, from Hawkshot, providing vision. And that turret is going to fall on the top side. But KT, they give up a second Infernal Drake to Gen.G. And Akali and Ezreal with an Infernal Drake is disgusting.
But this is the from downtown that KT's roster can do. The arrow is only a parting gift when it comes to cooldowns, but the kill was assured. Like you say, it's for Infernal, but they get something when they couldn't really commit for the Infernal.
Yeah,
so
and it was a turret as well, so possibly an advantage for KT.
maybe that will help for the Baron. That spawns in a minute 30. Remember, even though the first Baron was on one person and didn't do too much, we still got Baron stacking in this game, getting stronger and stronger over time. 30 minutes, going to be looking like a very powerful Baron. So, at the end of the day, gets stronger and stronger in the background. The double Infernal, that's there forever. And Elder is going to be super at a premium.
Smeb now with his Guardian Angel, not going to be dying too instantly here, as Ruler doesn't want to take too many of those, but can at least tank up a couple with the extra armor he has with his Iceborne Gauntlet.
And the Seraph's transformation at about 30 minutes, maybe 29. We weren't watching it as closely. Gango does a lot of damage if they choose the wrong backline access, as Smeb is all alone, but Mia is cutting off other members.
Well, Smeb really wants to just fight QV over and over again, by the looks of things. Paranoia on top of him, but Shroud, pretty powerful, Pop Smithy.
That ability is so annoying to deal with.
Even
I thought Zoe had
I
thought Zoe's W and the redemptions out of nowhere was annoying, and then we got the new Akali, and that takes the cake.
Maybe that's why Akali got changed, just so that people would stop being as mean to Zoe.
They did buff Zoe afterwards, so maybe it was sleight of hand.
Yeah, there it goes. All of the Riot Balance team, just secret Zoe players.
It could be, you know, could be. Just like KT could kill one person. There's a nice hat again onto BDD.
Smeb has a good time.
And Smeb has a frontline build going for Morma Mordius and the Guardian Angel, so he does have the ability to jump in there with BDD. Fly, super tanky. Probably not going to be the person to go down, but if they can get the drop on someone, maybe even the Ezreal, who's able to mainline a lot of creative items that get him tanky, this game may be closer than we think, and Fly has led with his face.
He has, and he's going to cop an arrow to it as well. Not going to have a devour on the side of Gen.G, but Gargoyle's Stoneplate will keep the Urgot alive. That arrow does go a little bit wanting in the end, as the flash did have to be used, so Fly did suffer a little bit for it.
QV going to meet Jace on the bot side as the barrage does a bit of damage.
Not too much, as red buff is going to go successfully.
Oh, Gango.
Oh, we'll see. Gango,
Oh!
He's going to be able to get it. And that was so close. Just the travel time of the Q. Quite there for QV.
Peanut
could have been a
walks
little
up.
bit more aggressive for that one.
Banshee Veil Gragas. That's an interesting one. I don't think we've seen that before.
Yeah.
Not usually opted into. You usually see some sort of Morellonomicon being pieced together by the Gragas.
Not often finished, but I guess we're getting into 32, 33-minute territory. And it's 3 items now. On the back of Peanut, 2-1-1. He's been farming up quite a lot as well. If you're keeping up with a Nocturne, you know that you're farming as far as jungle farm is concerned.
Into one fight territory too, because the Baron comes in, the minions zoom along with all the extra MS in the late game. Depending on the timings, you might be able to get the maximum out of the Baron, back away, get Elder, back away, get Baron. Because of those shorter respawn timers, there's so much more overlap. It's much more likely that you'll be able to guarantee each subsequent buff as KeSPA's in the back line.
Yep, he wants to stop it right now as Gango... Oh, that's not what you want to see. A bit of a panic ultimate comes in, and now Mia is certain to follow after him as well. The double kill as KeSPA just takes matters into his own hands.
Gango tries to predict the position there. Kali's not behind. You can't find her. They're going to mainline through the mid lane here, and Gen.G going to get so much.
They're going to get everything that they want at this point in time. Smeb trying to clear out minions more than anything else now as the flashes forward. BDD not going to get touched though as Peanut has to go into his stopwatch. And KeSPA once more. Smeb will go down to the GAs. The Fear Beyond Death isn't going to get the fear this time as BDD gets himself successfully out. No, he doesn't. As Ruler pops in over the top. They're looking for the aces. Umpty wonders where all his friends have gone.
They're all dead, Atlas. They all died in an instant because KeSPA found the right timing. Wasn't sure about the Devour time. It didn't matter. As that tongue, the licky tongue, is dead. Gen.G can back away. The Baron is spawning. I believe the last of the Elders is spawning as well. What do you want to eat? What do you want, KT? You're not going to get any of it. Gen.G's going to get it all.
Life just fail flash to Hex Flash, that it won't matter because Umpty, not a lot of places he can go, wondering whether to use the... Oh, he does use the flash. I would have opted out.
Well, now we're getting Diakity Sax territory.
He's going for it.
Sing it for me, Atlas.
I
hope you know where it's going. This could be a while.
Oh yeah, I don't want to fully commit. As Umpty gonna take a couple of turret shots, and Ruler's thinking he might be fast enough, but Dustbringer gives you a lot of movement speed,
I know,
guys.
40% CDI not enough.
And now he can turn the lights off. Oh, there's a certain Enrique Iglesias song that I now want to be singing as Fly jumps forward, and he's not gonna last that much longer, but Papa does mean that a lot of time was wasted.
Oh yeah,
of Gen.G.
They could have got both. They may still get both because the smite is down. But there is going to be at least a contest, and who knows what might happen here as BDD pokes in.
Well, Life and KeSPA, both of them gatekeeping here as Blue Trinket goes down. Gango has the arrow available. See whether he can actually hit any priority targets, and no, KT say it's not worth going for it. They don't have a smite, they can't contest.
It's not game 3 or game 2 either, Atlas. This is game 4 also, so you make them uncontested, you just lose the game straight up. So in spite of the amusing extended chase onto Umpty, chasing any member other than the smite, it's categorically wrong, but because it's the smite, get away with some silly business. Inferno will come in. That's a lot of AD and AP, as Ruler is basically a hybrid champion now.
Yep. Well, he already was, with the way Ezreal has been changed.
Yeah, we saw Gunblade at 3 of the Infernals another day, and that was like 350 AD and AP for just disgusting things.
And now, I guess it doesn't even really matter, because he's got obscene amounts of both regardless. So 2-0-2 now for Ruler, but he's got 6 items. Still has his brown bags. There were free brown bags as well. Yeah, why do you need to get welfare shoes when you've got all of these things? Oh man, adds insult to injury a little bit here as Gen.G using their Baron buff. It's now not just Ruler with that purple surrounding him. It's feeling like Gen.G wandering towards a 3-1 victory here and a ticket to the final.
And KeSPA can wander towards a minion wave with Baron and the ability to take on 2 people, probably?
Yeah, maybe 3.
He's definitely going to take 1 down with him, but he's going to be a bit more defensive here. KeSPA's Akali continues to roll along. This will be, what, the 4th victory for the Akali? At least the 3rd. I think it might be the 4th, though.
Yeah, there's been a lot of bans, actually, on top of this Kali. In game 1, he won the game, and must have been a couple more during a couple of series before this one.
So here you go. Gen.G push up in multiple lanes. Akali's bringing the minion wave in mid lane. Moving faster now.
Yeah, and Umpty's completely out of position on the bottom side. Doesn't even have Paranoia range available to him. This inhibitor is just going to go down. The mid had already been taken and is actually relatively close to coming back up again. As Umpty flanking position, but just not the right state of the game for him to be able to have any impact. Just this damage maneuver as KeSPA does take a big chunk there from BDD, just the QR combo.
On a extremely short cooldown as well, as you can note from the cooldown bar next to BDD. It's about 16 seconds or so. At this point in the game, one of those nice scaling moments that makes LeBlanc have a very nice spike at 16, but I don't think it's going to be too impactful in this game. Down goes the inner turret.
Whoa. And you know, champions take a little bit more damage from that because turrets will only scale off one of your damage quotients, and Rule is going to hit people with both. As KeSPA is going to go into the Zhonya's. Paranoia is there. That Shock Blast is going to be really important as Paranoia was just waited for. And now Gen.G find themselves without Nikali, a very strong member of this team as Fly does get himself out. Buffered the Disdain pretty perfectly there. Infinity gets sniped by Ruler, and now it's a 4v4. And maybe the 4v4 that Gen.G want. Fly looking for more. It's a double for Ruler now as Mia right in the middle of the team, and Peanut wants to finish that one off. Life with the double knock-up. It's the triple kill for the Ezreal, and Smeb has to watch as his base falls apart and his KeSPA Cup hopes have been destroyed. Gen.G will be meeting one of Damwon Gaming or Griffin in the KeSPA Cup Final 2018 and their first domestic final.
A huge moment for Gen.G as an org and the players, so long suffering on the domestic scene. 4 entire calendar years with no grand final qualifications. Never could they finish first in the LCK season to auto be seeded to the final. Never could they make it through a semi-final, only making it to one way back in 2017 spring. They finally, at the KeSPA Cup, will get a monkey off their back, qualify for that KeSPA Cup final, and they will face either Griffin or Damwon Gaming in what should be a competitive series, whichever of those two it ends up being.
Yeah, we have to look at the other side of the coin. KT Rolster, maybe it would have been a very different experience if that Game 3 hadn't have gone so catastrophically wrong. However, that's a man on your screen that can hold his head high so far during the series. Maybe not so much in Game 4, but definitely the first 3. Umti had a day out. Not missing score as much as we could have otherwise been in this KeSPA Cup, but that is going to be it for the run for KT. They won't be holding on to their KeSPA Cup title 2 years in a row.
And we'll see how KT fans react to this particular series, because I think Gango in general was way better than expected.
I think so too.
I don't think this was bot lane difference that actually led to the big lead in the end. I think KeSPA was just really, really good in this series, a vintage KeSPA versus Smeb series. Overall, even though Kingen was there for half of the games, Fly and Peanut as a duo, I think, have been good over the course of KeSPA Cup, even if that wasn't the winning factor for them today. His Urgot mid lane was very, very powerful. Was Fly, and overall Gen.G just seemed more crisp, just made less mistakes. Remember Kingen's mistakes in the last game were a big reason that KT didn't come in 2-1 leaders in this game number 4. So for Gen.G, they have been better than a lot of the other patchwork squads have been after a couple of weeks with these new lineups. Watching the replays of this game, Umti was out of it really early compared to his previous Nocturne game, which was the only other victory for KT Rolster in the series, and you really felt it because they didn't have the same sort of threat coming from the jungle. It wasn't 2 levels up lead to make things happen. Fly was getting double kills, 1v2, and the moment that KeSPA's first solo kill came in, that really felt like the end of the top lane, in many ways the end of the true competition in game number 4.
And that first kill on the top side of the map was the beginning of the KeSPA show. As at the very end of the game, not necessarily the greatest, but this trade 1-for-1, keeping 3 people busy, was just
killing
stunning
Gango
and terrifying him enough to throw the arrow in the backwards direction. Of course, he knew that he wasn't there, the Shroud in a different spot altogether.
I think he was just trying something and not pulling off anything. And meanwhile, Gen.G, the party tricks for Rule, the party tricks for them. They go on to win the game, to make the final, and on the balance of the play, can't argue with the result.
Yep. Really nicely done. I think a lot of us wanted to actually see Gen.G in the final here as well, just because they have been performing so well from so early on in the KeSPA Cup, given the fact that they didn't actually qualify too high in the LCK, means that we've seen a lot of Gen.G.
And the KeSPA Cups, depending on who you ask and whether you're winning or losing, means everything or nothing. Yeah. Again, our takeaway is that Gen.G's roster does seem better than the roster a lot of people said paled in comparison to some of the other super teams that have been put together. There's something about them. It's at least going to be some confidence and a big moment for their fans who have been long suffering when it comes to watching Gen.G, KeSPA, or Samsung Galaxy in Korea.
Exactly right. So now we are going to go into the winners interview. You can see Ruler over there to the left, and I believe Peanut.
Gen.G 스포츠의 두 선수
I think it might be
만나보겠습니다.
Fly. We'll find out soon.
Oh, it is Fly.
Yay!
You have better ear recognition than me. So hello to Fly and Ruler. So we start the interview translation.
결승 진출 아무래도
You made it to the finals.
뒤로하고 또 이렇게 리빌딩 후 읽어낸 결과에 더 좀
And you can put away your regrets from the last season if you've made it to the finals here. How do you feel?
새로운 신인도 있고 그런데 지금 합이 좀 잘
And they think now they have a rookie in their team.
감회가 새롭네요.
Their teamwork
왜 웃으세요?
feels fine
룰러
now,
선수 기분이
to be honest.
어떠세요?
And they're glad that they made it to the final even with that. Ruler says that he's really happy.
본인의 활약상 좀 만족하시나요?
오늘은 좀 많이 불만족스러운데
And also, all of the interviews seem to be with Ruler. And how do you feel about that? And he says, I'm just happy that I can make it to the final.
He didn't seem satisfied with his play. It wasn't the Ruler show today like it was before.
That's true.
마음가짐이
That's
달라지는 부분이 있나요?
이게 아무래도 무언가를 행동할 때마다 눈치가 보여가지고
아 정말요?
네,
So they're basically saying that now Fly comes in as the oldest player on the roster. He did a lot of team things. He was a lot of team play here. As that captain, has it changed your attitude?
사실 플라이 선수도
And he says that he's changed it a little bit. It's a little bit of a change in aspect of the game and been playing a little bit less crazy. Is Fly.
좀 어떠세요? 조이가 밴 당했을 때 이제 좀 우르고스로
So they're saying about the Zoe
보여줘야겠다는
bans here and the
생각이
Urgot picks from Fly.
아, 네.
Yeah.
그 조이가
Whether moving from the Zoe to the Urgot was an easy thing.
밴이 안 될 줄 알았거든요. 근데 밴이 돼가지고 재미있었어요.
이 네 번째 마지막 세트 있잖아요.
Yeah, they weren't expecting the Zoe ban actually, and it came in a couple of the games in this series.
본인 혼자 거의
But,
세 명을
he was happy to play it one
더블킬
time.
냈던 장면 그 장면 기억하세요?
네.
그게 가능할 거라고 좀 생각을 하셨나요?
Talking about some of the outplays, and this is about the 1v2 on the Urgot after Peanut was elsewhere.
네.
Ah, yes. And in the mid lane as well,
룰러
so
선수 그 장면 혹시
where
기억하세요?
Peanut
아, 네, 기억합니다.
어떻게
could have
보셨어요?
potentially died, but Fly was able to get that one done and get that cute snipe as well to finish that one off. So very happy about that one.
형이 또 잘해줘가지고
And Ruler also talking about some of his cleanups as well against KT, where he's able to come in at the end of that particular fight in the last game. And a lot of it is talking about Peanut and his impact on this team, and it has been the big change here for Gen.G.
정말 많이 좀 압박을 많이 받았는데 실제로 좀 KT 로스터의 바텀 듀오와 경기를
And so
해본
far,
소감은
this has been the
어떠신가요?
hardest match for you as a bottom lane duo, as Life and Ruler. So how was it against KT here?
그래서 좀 많이 당했던 것 같습니다.
그리고 또 승리의 발판을
He
마련할 수
actually
있었던 세 번째
rates
세트 얘기를 안
the
해볼
bottom
수
lane
없을
of
것
KT
같아요.
very highly.
또
Thinks
리신이
they're
잘리고
a great
나서
bottom
상대가
lane. Thinks
바로
SKT
버스라는
as well, very, very
상황이었어요.
powerful.
그
But
전에도 계속
KT
상황이 안
have got a great
좋았어서
bottom
좀
lane.
패배를 예상하고 있었을 것 같은데 그때 한타에서 킹겐 선수를 바로 잡아내면서 이렐리어를 바로 끊어내면서 그대로 승리로 이어졌거든요.
네.
그때
And so
한타에서
all of a sudden there's a bottom lane party and there's 5 versus 5 on the bottom side of the map. How did that moment in the bottom lane affect how you guys felt?
아무래도 진짜 그 이렐리아의 타겟팅을
And,
정확하게 해준 게 또 승리의
Ruler
요인이지
said
않았나
that
생각이 들어요.
basically it all came down to team fights this series. As soon as we won a fight, then we were able to finish off the game, and he feels like they were very happy with how they played out the team fights, especially in the last two matches.
Now we're trying to pick out an MVP player here, and they say Cuvée, which I think is probably pretty on the money.
Absolutely. They say that he played much better than expected as well. And Ruler says that Life would be his MVP, and I like that one as well because having the player that with the least experience on the team be pretty much a front runner, definitely a good example.
또 여쭤보고 싶었거든요.
그냥 팩트로 말하면 그냥 빨아먹고 다녀가지고.
너무하네요, 형.
And they're talking about a funny story here, talking about it's difficult to live with Cuvée for a week. Is the gist of what we were hearing.
오늘 경기만큼은 큐베 선수가
And they're
진짜
trying to get some trash talk out of Fly.
yeah, and now they're saying that it's a little bit inappropriate to talk about it on camera.
또 어떨 거라고 생각을 하시나요? 담원 게이밍과
Okay, well, they're trying their very
Can they
best to
bait something out of
avoid.
Fly? Can they get anything out of him?
Or
그나마
So they're asking about the final.
Yeah,
who's going to
who's
win?
gonna be?
Who are they going to face?
Someone or Griffin.
오히려 가장 높은 자리에서 만날 수 있게 돼서
네.
다행이다. 아, 네, 알겠습니다. 일단 상대에 대한
Well,
긴장을
Fly was
늦추지
happy that they
않는
didn't have to
플라이
meet them
선수의
before the
대답이었고요.
finals, but
룰러
they'll have to
선수도
meet them
내일이
there.
생일이라고 들었어요.
네.
다시 한번 이
Fly
자리를
has
축하드립니다.
respect to both of them, both Griffin and
아마
Damwon.
오늘 승리 덕분에 팬들에게 더 많은 축하를 받으실 것 같은데요. 마지막으로 팬들에게 한마디 부탁드릴게요.
내일이 생일인데 다행히 이겨서
And just saying that
뭐
Ruler had such a brilliant performance so far in the KeSPA Cup that he'll be building a lot of fans.
축하드립니다.
감사합니다.
And he says he's
네,
just
오늘
really
두 선수
happy
다시
that they
한번
managed to
생일
get the
축하드리고
win.
인터뷰 고맙습니다.
And
감사합니다.
and also it's very close to his birthday as well. So happy birthday to Ruler.
룰러 선수와
That's
플라이
going to be
선수
that.
함께했습니다.
Thank you very much for the interview, Gen.G, and congratulations. You'll be heading towards the Sejong University Convention Hall for the grand final of the KeSPA Cup 2018 on the very last day of 2018. We have a look through the times of the victories here for Gen.G. The first game was such a pivotal one and so important in this series. KT Rolster fought back in Game 2, but after that Game 3 loss, it was all Gen.G.
And just altogether, some longer games today. We definitely didn't have trades of 25-minute wins. They were much more labored. And that means, like you say, on New Year's Eve, Gen.G will make their first domestic final in the LCK era. Facing the winner of tomorrow's best of 5, Valdez will be back for Griffin versus Damwon Gaming. I think a lot of people will give this to Griffin because they are the LCK team. They are the team that's been respected, but we were told about 2 scrim gods around Worlds, 2 teams that were taking wins off of Invictus Gaming, off of Fnatic. Now we get to see them face each other, and maybe we'll know who the better scrim god is.
And Damwon just came off a victory against SKT, and based on what people have been saying about dream teams, what certain commentators have been saying about their prospects at the World Championships and things like that, they now have a bit of egg on their face, unfortunately. But Damwon looking fantastic, and now up against Griffin, who also looked brilliant and haven't changed anything since their fantastic roster almost made it to Worlds this year.
Damwon have had the more competitive experience in the KeSPA Cup. Griffin come in 2-0, and then we see them tomorrow. So it's going to be so cool to see where the adaptations are. It's so different at the end of this tournament because we go away from the big field to the small field, and thus, because we have match days every day, these teams are playing every 2 days, so the action is thick and fast.
Yeah. Well, we're all looking forward to the LCK, but before that, we've got the KeSPA Cup, and the finals will be continuing tomorrow. But that's it from us tonight, and it's it from me as well for the KeSPA Cup. So I'll see you guys for the LCK.